Hello team, how's it going? Welcome to Combat Ready HQ. Welcome to another video where we'll be looking at, commenting, reviewing the RAH-66 Comanche, the F-35 of helicopters. Looking at the pictures, it looks like an F-35, the way it's shaped and designed, not like an actual fighter jet, but just the shape and design of it. So guessing it's most probably some sort of stealth helicopter. It's got some sort of stealth to it, unlike the standard sort of attack Apache helicopter that we sort of see today, that we know. So this is US military news. Sam Wilson. So as always, check out his videos in the description, please. And if you like, subscribe, turn notifications, bell, and it really helps push the channel. And as always, comment below of what your thoughts are, what you think of the video, what you want to see next. And go and check out our free Discord, Instagram, our merch, our coffee. Just please, any support, I hugely appreciate it. But what we'll do is we'll get into it now. Hopefully you enjoy. That sound.
This is the F-35 of helicopters.
Is that engaging? Is that just flying?
RAH-66 Comanche.
Oof.
While the F-35 stealth fighter might come to mind today, in 2004, the most timely answer might have been the RAH-66 Comanche. The slick-looking stealth helicopter spent 22 years in development, consuming over $7 billion before being abruptly canceled, with only 2 flying prototypes to show for it.
No way. I think it's mental. We spoke about this before. The money that goes into R&D, research and development for the military, that side is just insane. That gets like spent and pretty much wasted because they don't go ahead with it.
The Comanche sprang of by the Army's Light Helicopter Experimental Program, conceived during the defending spending glut of the 1980s. Among other objectives, this program sought a replacement for the Army's OH-58 Kiowa and OH-6 KU Scout helicopters, which were derived from the civilian Bell 206 Jet Ranger and Hughes 500 choppers. Scout helicopters were primarily tasked with spying out enemy positions and designating them for attack by friendly forces. However, they were also suitable for attacking lightly defended targets with rocket pods, miniguns, and even tank-busting TOW or Hellfire missiles, while armored Apache gunships tackled heavier foes.
Nice. Oh my God, look at that.
Still, the Army
Let's look at that again. This is what it's like to be an attack helicopter pilot. What a view!
The Army wanted a more survivable scout helicopter to combat the Soviet Union's huge mechanized armies, which were well protected by self-propelled short-range anti-aircraft missiles and rapid-firing flak cannons. And what better way to outwit these radar-guided systems than with the stealth technology than being pioneered by the Air Force's F-117 stealth jet?
Yeah.
After 6 years of conceptual dithering, in 1988, the Army finally issued a request for proposals and selected in 1991 a futuristic design proposed by Boeing and Sikorsky.
That's it, a futuristic design. It's all the angles, basically the shape of it, obviously to make it obviously stealthy. You can see the wheels come in as well to help with flight, and most probably I'm guessing stealth, because obviously you want them covered when flying.
The RAH-66 Reconnaissance Attack Helicopter was formally named after the Comanche Native American tribe per Army custom. The Pentagon allocated $2.6 billion to developing the chopper, 1,200 of which were eventually planned for manufacture at the Sikorsky factory in Bridgeport, Connecticut, for a total cost of $34 billion,
oh my God.
$28 million per helicopter. That same year saw the dissolution of the Soviet Union, along with the rationale and budget for building many gold-plated U.S. weapon systems, such as the Seawolf class submarine. Nonetheless, Boeing and Sikorsky proceeded with the development of 2 prototypes shaped with non-radar reflective surfaces made out of radar-absorbing composite materials. This allegedly gave the Comanche 1/250th the radar cross-section of an OH-58, allowing it to approach 4 times closer to an enemy prior to detection.
Nice.
A heat-dispersing scheme channeled hot exhaust into the tail for cooling by the shrouded tail fan and used infrared dampening paint to reduce the Scout Chopper's heat signature to 1/4 of normal.
I wondered why I had a shrouded tail fan.
Canted blades atop the Comanche's top rotor were designed to produce half as much noise as a regular helicopter. Should it be detected, the Comanche was further shielded by radar warning systems self-defense jammers, chaff and flare dispensers, and enough Kevlar and graphite armor to withstand heavy machine gun rounds and 23mm shells.
Ooh, must be quite heavy.
The pilot and weapons systems officer sat in a tandem arrangement, operating the helicopter with special helmet-mounted sights and liquid crystal multifunction displays. Like a stealth fighter, the Comanche could carry up to 6 Hellfire anti-tank missiles in internal weapon bays so that the protruding weapons didn't increase its radar signature.
Yeah.
Even the Scout Chopper's landing gear and chin-mounted triple-barrel 20mm XM301 Gatling cannon were designed to retract inwards. Should firepower take precedence over stealth, the RAH-66 could fit wing stubs, allowing it to more than double its weapons load.
Look at that.
The Comanche was also the ultimate dogfighting helicopter. With an impressive maximum speed of 200 miles per hour, the agility to pull off tight turns and near loop-de-loops, and capacity for 12 AIM-92 Stinger heat-seeking anti-aircraft missiles. The chopper's triple redundant fly-by-wire flight control kept it stable even while undertaking tight maneuvers.
Oh, look at that.
The RH-66 used a long-range forward-looking infrared sensor to spot enemies, which it could then illuminate with a laser target. A millimeter-wave longbow radar could be optionally mounted atop the rotor, allowing the crew to peek over concealing hill crests and trees. Sensor data could then be relayed to friendly forces via high-speed data links.
So the gist I'm getting from this at the minute, it is literally just a stealth Apache. Hellfire missiles, I think it was, 20mm, 30mm cannon. The way they're in tandem seated, the headsets and the eyepieces, the technology it would have now, they were sort of incorporating back then. Longbow radar on top.
January 1996, a RAH-66 prototype finally made its first flight, and a second prototype joined it 3 years later. But as later occurred with the F-35, the Comanche incorporated so many brand new technologies that developing, debugging, and integrating nearly tripled development costs over time. For example, the helicopter came to be hundreds of pounds heavier than expected, resulting in post-facto weight trimming and efforts to develop more powerful T-800 turboshaft engines. The RAH-66's software proved buggy, its sensors unreliable, and its radar-absorbent materials susceptible to erosion when exposed to rain. Meanwhile, the Army benchmarks crept upwards. For example, requiring the light scout helicopters somehow to be able to carry enough fuel for transoceanic ferry flights. By 2002, the cost overruns and delays had won the Comanche many bureaucratic foes, and wars in Afghanistan and Iraq soon diverted spending to pressing operational contingencies.
Yeah, it was that time, wasn't it?
Resulting in planned procurement to nearly half at $650. Finally, in 2004, the Comanche was abruptly canceled after over RAH-66 Comanche was abruptly canceled after over $7 billion in spending, including a $500 million cancellation penalty. The two prototypes are now displayed at the Army's Aviation Museum at Fort Rucker, Alabama. Had the Pentagon poured in additional billions, the RAH's 66 lingering bugs might eventually have been ironed out, resulting in a decent scout helicopter. But the 22-year-old program simply was no longer relevant enough to justify its financial excess. For one, stealth is much more of a trump card for a high and fast-flying jet plane than a helicopter flying at a fraction of the speed at low altitude. While the Comanche's stealth properties were certainly useful, the helicopter would have remained vulnerable to all manner of short-range anti-aircraft weapons and likely heat-seeking missiles. Indeed, the Army deemed the RAH-66 would have required costly additional upgrades to survive the latest SAM systems. Furthermore, unlike the F-35, the Comanche was fulfilling a relatively niche support role in the Pentagon's war machine. The RAH-66 procurement would have consumed roughly 40% of the Army's annual aviation budget, even though transport and attack helicopters were higher priorities. Besides, AH-64Ds were already being fielded with longbow radars, and for surveillance missions, the Army preferred to invest in cost-effective drones that could undertake risky scouting missions without placing human lives at risk. As Lieutenant Colonel Dan Ward put it in a lacerating piece in Time magazine, the Comanche was unaffordable, unnecessary, and despite more than 2 decades of effort, incomplete. The RAH-66 numbered amongst 5 Army programs that collectively sucked $30 billion in spending without producing any operational systems.
Oh my God.
At best, the RAH-66 pioneered technologies believed to have been integrated into special MH-60 Black Hawk stealth helicopters used to perform secretive commando missions, including the Navy SEAL raid which killed bin Laden. The Army went on using OH-58D Kiowa warriors in Afghanistan and Iraq until the type was finally retired in 2017, leaving the Army without any medium scout helicopters. Several attempts to procure low-cost replacements such as the OH-58F and the ARH-70 Arapaho subsequently fell through. Late-model AH-64E Apache Guardians have replaced Kiowas in attack reconnaissance battalions, but have proven a poor fit for the mission. Thus, history seemingly is repeating itself as the Army is yet again seeking another cutting-edge scout helicopter called Future Armed Reconnaissance Aircraft to enter production in 2028.
Okay,
If FARA
see what
can
this is
overcome
doing
a
then.
legacy of past failures, it will likely do so by incorporating mature, affordable technologies and staying committed to disciplined budgets and development processes. The Comanche, in theory, might have been an awesome-looking helicopter, but that did not make it any less of a poorly managed defense program.
Okay, though, pretty decent. That is pretty much it, as always. Poorly managed budget and just project managing. No surprise there. That is what's happened. They went over budget. But back in 2002, you had Iraq, Afghan. It was all kicking off. So the attack helicopter, and to be honest, for what we were doing, you didn't need the Comanche, to be honest. The Black Hawk, yeah, the stealth Black Hawk, transporting troops in and out without being seen, definitely up there. But a scout helicopter, most probably not. You've got fighter jets to do it if need be, who can go high up and have the stealth capability. So it wasn't really needed. Is it needed now? Yeah, possibly. But the technology is there nowadays. Technology has advanced a lot in 22 years since that got disbanded and dismantled back in 2002. So the technology is now, you could take a lot of that technology out of the attack Apache helicopters and put that into the Comanche or whatever it is the new helicopters being called, and then obviously upgrade the outside of it so it is a lot stealthier, so it can do a lot more scout missions without being seen. But as always, poorly managed budget. It just always comes down to that, just like constantly wasting money on things that they don't need or they just don't know how to manage. It's seen throughout, and hopefully one day the military, especially the US and the UK, will actually learn to spend money on decent kit, invest in it, manage it correctly, and provide it to the guys and girls that actually need it without wasting too much money. But we'll see. Hope you enjoyed that video. Looking forward to see hopefully this new stealth helicopter, scout helicopter coming out in the future. We will keep an eye on that, and we will update you when and if a new video or new information comes out on it. Thanks for watching.